Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the BroadBoys podcast. I'm Cade.
I'm Micah.
And we are about to be gold medalists at the upcoming ESPORTS Olympic Games in 2025.
In Saudi Arabia.
If you haven't heard, the Olympics has made it official. ESPORTS is just as important and useful as normal physical sports. They confirmed to the IOC, we knew you would come around. You have definitely, kind of unchained us gamers.
Yes.
We are now validated. Thank you so much.
We are. But you know what they haven't told us?
The games.
The games that are going to be in it. There are rumors and sort of insider released information on what games will be there. But nothing is confirmed as of yet.
Well, first, I just want to talk about, why they're getting into esports right now, Because they've done a little bit of esports beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
But, this is, the big deal.
Yeah, they're finally giving it a year, and it's through the IOC itself.
Yep.
So nations are going to be taking their committees and sending their teams in.
Yep, and I feel like, because it's going to be alternating each year, I feel like it does have to do with, there's an Olympic event every single year now.
Yep.
Which, for them, I'm sure that's cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The big thing, I think, that's going to be huge is this one might actually be profitable for the Olympics.
It takes a lot less time to build an esports stadium.
It does. It absolutely does.
Then, Paris, they had to build tons and tons and tons.
I know. And that's the big thing is it costs so much to host an Olympics now. This might actually be an Olympics that people will buy to host.
Maybe.
Which would be pretty cool.
We'll see. And Saudi Arabia's got the first one.
They do.
Yeah. They've been taking a lot of the tournaments because the World Gamer Champion, I forget what it's called, but it's like an FGC. No, it's like a ton of different games. It's the finals is being hosted in Saudi Arabia.
Well, they have a lot of gamers in Saudi Arabia.
They do. They're really pushing for it.
Oh, I know. They have the surprising number is I believe half of their gamers are women, and they have 23 million young gamers.
That's insane.
I know.
I don't even know how you make that happen.
I have no idea.
They're capitalizing on it, that's for sure. But
well, they want to expand because oil's not going to be a thing forever, and so they want to be branching out. And maybe
esports is the way to go.
Esports might be their next big ticket.
Yeah, that's crazy. But personally, I'm excited. It depends on the games they throw out and stuff like that. But for the most part,
yeah, I'm absolutely ecstatic. I'm very excited for. I'm very excited to see the esports come through. And I'm really hoping for some specific games.
Yeah.
The very unfortunate thing is they said they don't want any killing games.
Yeah, which if you look at a broad geopolitical, you're painting with a huge brush with the Olympics, it makes sense.
I know it makes sense, but also they have some very violent sports in the Olympics anyway.
Yeah,
they have boxing, professional fighting,
rugby,
and,
even rugby injuries. Those can be pretty rough.
Exactly, and so I don't know. The Olympics is not afraid to have literal physical violence in.
I think it's the guns. It's the guns that make the difference.
That's fair. How long has it been since they stopped using real guns in the Olympics?
I can't remember. I couldn't tell you.
I remember when they went to pellet guns instead of actual guns, and a lot of the competitors were upset because obviously a pellet gun
different.
Feels nothing like a real gun.
It's different. Yeah. No, it's very interesting. I feel like that cuts out a lot of Western esports for sure. You think about Valorant, you think about CS:GO. Those are pretty popular esport games, and they just won't show up at the Olympics.
Absolutely,
so not going to see Tarek flicking in winning a gold medal because of it,
which is kind of unfortunate. And I think that technically the way they said it, I think that would rule out games like Overwatch as well, which is very unfortunate.
Yeah, it's Overwatch, competitive Overwatch is interesting, but we can talk about what games should be. But yeah. Well, let's talk about the games. What's so there have been rumors and leaks and all of that about what's gonna be there and stuff.
Yeah.
And you had a list, right, that you were looking at?
Yeah, there was a list, but it was day one, it was announced and someone released these were the ones they discussed internally, and they're pretty mainstream.
Yeah.
So obviously they want to do a MOBA, so they want to do League of Legends.
Yeah.
Which was really surprising that on the list they didn't include Dota.
Because that's very popular in Southeast Asia?
Southeast Asia, Russia, Ukraine, Eastern Europe. It's very popular in most of the East. Save for Japan and Korea, where they play a lot of League.
Yeah. I mean, I think MOBA's definitely on there. You know, League is being the obvious choice just because, I mean, with the amount of viewership Worlds brings in to begin with, to put that in the Olympics.
There's a lot of sports related ones. So they're going to do FIFA.
Yep. NBA, 2K.
I think they're doing NBA. And then they also had Rocket League on there.
Okay.
As far as
I think
sports
Rocket
category.
League is like perfect for the Olympics.
Oh, yes, of course it is.
It's like super safe, but you know, a lot of skill expression. Yep. So I think that will for sure be in the Olympic lineup.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. Other games that they said they were going to include, they wanted a racing sim.
Okay.
They had.
What's the most competitive racing sim?
Well, so
it's not Mario Kart.
No, so there's Gran Turismo as one option, but then they also have it's called it's literally iRacing. There we go.
Okay.
It's iRacing.
Yeah, never heard of it.
So it'll probably want. So it's like a hyper realistic racing sim. Think of like Microsoft Flight Simulator, but for race drivers.
Okay. So are people going to be bringing in like their wheels and their pedals?
I would guess it would be the same way that other games, you know, you have the mouse you like and the keyboard you like. It's going to be
you can bring any peripherals you want.
I don't know. That's going to be interesting. Like, are they supplied peripherals or are they going to be your own personal?
Yeah, it's interesting. But I mean, there's got to be some fighting games in there too, right?
Yeah,
like Street Fighter. I'm sure
they said Street Fighter.
Well, because I mean, Street Fighter is perfect for the Olympics too, because World Warriors from all around the world.
Absolutely. I think Tekken was also on that list.
I love competitive Tekken. So I would welcome that.
Those were the only two like fighter.
And
honestly, the list wasn't that expansive.
Yeah. So what should be in the Olympics?
So there's a big part of me that thinks Smash would be great for the Olympics.
You think so?
I do. I don't think Nintendo would ever sign away their IP to it, though.
No, I think. All right, listen. I think Nintendo would be more willing to work with the Olympics than any other circuit.
Yeah. The trouble I have is that they like keeping all their stuff in house.
I mean, kind of. But I think it's the Olympics, though. I think is the difference is because when they've tried working with other people, it's like grassroots organizations. Like they still host like frequently their own Splatoon tournaments, their own Mario Kart tournaments, their own Smash Brothers tournaments.
And it's really big in the East, so that makes sense.
Yeah. I will say I think they will push Splatoon. I'm not entirely happy about that. I'm not like.
I would not call that an A-list competition.
Apparently, it's big over in the East.
It's so big in the East, and I don't like it. But whatever.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Splatoon fan either, so I don't even see it as really a very competitive game.
I think Mario Kart would be freaking sick. Like
that's not in a competitive game.
Imagine going to the Olympics and you have just 10 countries per heat. Okay, and you do a Grand Prix.
It wouldn't work. Because it's not.
Just do
there's way too much luck involved.
No, you just do. Yes and no. Like you've watched competitive Mario Kart, right?
Yes, I have.
Like there's genuinely a lot of skill.
Yes, there's genuinely skill, but you're still pulling from an item pool every 15 seconds.
That's true. I mean, there could be regulated rules on how to do competitive item pulling.
And regulated rules is the one thing that Nintendo hates. Like if Smash Brothers does get in, they're gonna want to make sure that the rule set's approved by them from front to back. And they've been very clear on where they stand on.
Well, I mean, that does make sense though, right? So like if they go to, I don't know, pick any game with character selection or whatever, right? And you obviously don't want in the Olympics to then see meta characters just take complete control, right?
Yeah, well, but then the solution for Smash at least would be banning Steve, and they don't want to ban any. They don't want to ban a character that they put in the game. I think that's.
I mean, that's fair, but like they've done it before in the past.
All right, I have another problem with Smash being in the Olympics, and I just don't think Smashers are built to be in the Olympics. If that makes sense.
You can.
I'll say the same about Guilty Gear Strive players, but Smash players, I feel like don't fit the Olympic environment. If that makes sense.
That's fair. That's fair.
Just as a fan base and player base and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just thinking more along the lines of they're looking for something that exemplifies skill. And
competitive Smash, it's
absolutely.
I love competitive Smash.
Yeah. Like there's a level of skill that competitive Smash players have that no one else who just casually plays will ever achieve.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, and then I can't see Mario Kart. I can maybe see Smash. I see them mainly pushing Splatoon. Well, I think Nintendo is way more likely to do
Yeah.
I think they're more likely to make a game for the Olympics.
That's fair.
Like, imagine them making a competitive Wii Fit game for the Olympics. I can see them doing something like that. I can see them, they did like a Ring Fit adventure game, making something like that, but more competitive PvP, and try to push it to get into the Olympics.
Yeah, I could see that. I know that they have plans on doing some fitness related games. I can't think of what they're called off the top of my head, because obviously they're not my bread and butter.
Yeah.
But but I don't know. It's very interesting. What other game genres will be likely represented?
I think now this is not like likely, but I think if they dabbled into speedrunning somehow,
that would be really interesting.
I think it'd be fun, like do a race, like GDQ does races for different games. I think that'd be fun. And it's very easy to like telegraph to people who don't play the games. Just like, oh, it's just they're trying to do this faster than the other person.
Yeah.
And that's a lot easier to convey.
Like even before it starts, right? You can like give a little breakdown of everyone's going towards this goal and they want to do it the fastest time possible. Like there's a reason why speedrunning is so big. It's because it's really easy to see, this is my goal. Here's my timer. I want a small number.
Small number. Yep. Small number, big person.
Big person.
Exactly. Yep. So I think they could dabble into that. I think you see what's interesting is that all of these ideas and stuff for Olympics is like, it's got to go through so much bureaucracy to get anywhere. Like, you got to go through the IOC, you got to go through the companies that make it.
You got to go every single individual nations, federations, so if they can pick players.
Yeah, like, I don't see like a lot of, I mean, especially for the first couple times, I don't see a lot of insane, like, oh, let's do this side event or this, like, you just twist how you play it.
Yeah.
Speedrunning is like twisting how you play the game versus Street Fighter or Tekken, where it's like, no, this is meant to be a competitive game.
Yeah.
So I don't see, and all that to say, I don't see a lot of like, not official ways of playing entering the Olympics.
Yeah, that's completely fair.
Which is why Smash I have trouble with, because it's a party game, so it's played competitively by a lot of people, and Mario Kart's the same way.
Yeah,
so
I agree. Yeah, I can agree with that. Where it would be nice to see it, but the rules and regulations to make sure there's nothing cheesy or out of the ordinary, right?
Yeah.
That's out there. That's
you know what they could push?
What could they
Nintendo could push Pokemon Unite for the Olympics.
That would be,
I can see them doing that too.
That'd be interesting.
Because that's their MOBA. People love Pokemon.
That's true.
You're not going to get people watching Pokemon like doubles or the card game, I think.
Yeah, no, you won't.
But you could get people watching the MOBA.
Speaking of card games, though, card games are very competitive.
Yeah, but like
Hearthstone
could, I don't know. I feel like you'd have to really look at the rule set for that.
I mean, Hearthstone is, the nice part about Hearthstone is, unlike a physical card game, you can't have an old card that isn't relevant anymore, right?
Yeah. It's updating.
Yeah, it's always updating, and the cards change when one is too overpowered or anything like that. So, there is a level of balance that can continue to be balanced.
Yes.
The interesting part, I think, has to do with, is the IOC going to then put regulation demands on game creators to have their game be an Olympic sport?
Yeah, that's interesting. And then also you could make a game for the Olympics too. Like it could go the reverse way. Yep. Like you're working with IOC from the beginning.
Yep.
Maybe the IOC makes a game.
That would be interesting, yes.
That, I don't know, for the Olympics. Or maybe they take an idea like Overwatch and like family friendly it into their own
So what
clone.
I think they would do is I don't know if they'd pay or if they would give like a featured spot for it, right? Like if Overwatch or like Blizzard was said, hey, we really want our game, what do we need to do to have it in there? And then they give a list of demands, and then they just take the game they have and then create not like a spin-off, like a non-for-sale spin-off or whatever, right? That's just used for the Olympics. It's still Overwatch. It's still recognizably Overwatch.
But no one's dying.
Yeah,
and
they
the guns are, okay.
They fix the criteria.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that happening. That's interesting.
Or even for like individual rule sets, right? Like you could even see a quote unquote party game that's very competitive. All they have to do is say, hey, you really want your game in the Olympics? create a small spin-off of it, exact same game, just create these rules and regulations we can have.
Also, I think the problem with, or not, it's a problem that the Olympics like giving out slots, and if they have a price on them, is you could get some, trash company, or not trash, a company that has a lot of money that makes a trash multiplayer game, like Foam Stars. You remember that?
Yes.
That was advertised quite a bit. Like, if I think that was that Square Enix that made that game. Yeah. So if Square Enix makes Foam Stars, which by all accounts is not like the greatest game.
No, not.
No legacy, no anything, but they could pay up the money to get that Olympic slot, and then suddenly you're making a lot of money playing Foam Stars.
Yeah.
Which I see the positive of. It brings life into a new game, gets a lot of people talking about it, and you create new communities.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it could be going towards another game that is like, what if it takes like Street Fighter 6 slot?
Well, I'm hoping it's not like a slot system. I'm hoping they do it the exact same way they do the other Olympics, where it's proposed and then they have to vote on it. So things like breakdancing was recently added, right? Like,
yep,
it's really cool. It's
cool.
rated.
It's cool.
It's really cool.
I'm just thinking about the Australian breakdancer.
I don't know. That feels like I lied on my resume type of thing, but
I'm interested to hear the economical breakdown about it too, because I feel like that might be.
I would love to see esports be a viable and profitable.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I mean, I think most people do.
Yeah.
It's hard the way that they got it set up. Not very financially stable.
They just don't have, they just don't have the sponsors yet. More people got to get out there and get some big companies.
Yeah, and the Olympics is a big name.
It is a big name.
So hopefully that might again validate the game.
That is true.
But yeah. So the Olympics is going on right now, which is why we bring that up. And also they just announced it. But also in August there's been some other things going on in terms of gaming and movies.
Yep.
So in terms of games, it's kind of a quiet month, but there's been information releasing about a couple games I'm interested about. They've been releasing some Black Ops 6 information,
which looks really good.
I'm hopefully optimistic.
I'm very excited. Being able to pause zombies is cool.
Okay, yep. I don't know how I feel about that at the moment, but
I feel like it's a disservice to people to force them, you want to do round 100, but you have to stay up for 4 hours.
Well, that's because it's a challenge. I mean,
I know it's a challenge, but it's also just pause the game.
Yeah, for solo games, I think pausing's perfectly fine. I don't think that's an issue at all. What I'm more interested about is like the round-based stuff, and I think that looks cool. I think the story, I'm not as big a fan of, but it's hard to replicate what they had before. So I'm just hoping that the gameplay is fun. The Omni movement looks fun in Zombies 2, and the Wonder Weapons look like a lot of fun.
I'm excited. I'm gonna watch people play before I buy. I'm not gonna pre-order.
That's fair.
Doing that anymore.
That's fair. That's fair.
But if it looks fun, I might just buy it.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time I've been excited about a COD game since Black Ops 4. And I mean, Black Ops 4 hype wasn't really all that warranted.
Yeah.
But the other game that's been getting a lot of information has been Monster Hunter Wilds.
I was going to say
Black Myth Wukong as well. We can talk about that first. So they finally showed gameplay.
The final trailer.
Like a couple weeks before it releases.
August 20th is the release date, and they finally showed the gameplay.
And it looks cool.
It does look cool. They didn't show any of the HUD, though. No HUD.
Yeah, no HUD, no UI.
Yep, just cinematic gameplay.
The enemies look sick.
They do.
It looks like there's either multiple characters or you can shape-shift. With shape-shifting into all the different animals, like you had the tentacle guy, you had like big, strong brute guy, and then you had monkey with fire staff.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Looks cool.
It looks cool.
Comes out in a couple weeks, maybe.
There were a lot of like actual in-game cinematics, which makes me think it's primarily a story game.
Maybe
sort of like
in the same way like the Sekiro had story, like in added cutscenes. I think they'll go.
I think that'll be more along the line.
Yeah, and I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, too.
I didn't know really what to think about before because I was like, oh, it looks cool, but where's the gameplay?
Exactly.
Yada yada. And now the gameplay's here. I'm like, hey,
yeah, it was
maybe I'll play it.
It was only 4 minutes, but
yeah, I mean, and some people are already calling it a Game of the Year contender.
Yeah, I did see that.
Which I mean, everyone's jumping the gun as always.
I know, but honestly, this year's been lame.
I mean, I think there have been some amazing games that have come out, but in terms of like the Game of the Year style games.
Yeah.
Yes, it's been pretty slow.
Yeah,
Sure.
like I was originally like Helldivers 2 is gonna do, but they haven't supported the game very well.
Okay.
Plenty of updates. It's just they have not listened to the community, and they've done this big cycle where they release an update, people hate it. They say, we're gonna listen to you," and they ask for feedback,
And then it doesn't.
and then
Go
it doesn't go through, and then they release a new update, people hate it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Ah,
Yeah, that's just. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. Like for game of the year stuff, it has been pretty slow. I don't really know what I know what I consider my game of the year right
so
now.
far.
Yeah, but we can talk about that at a later time.
Yeah,
But in terms of
absolutely.
like it's not like 2023 where it's like,
Yeah.
oh, this could be game of the year, or this could be game of the year,
Well,
or this could be game
there
of the
are
year.
a lot of big up and comers still, right? So
Yes.
obviously Black Myth Wukong this month.
Metaphor Fantasio.
Sure.
In October.
You also have the Warhammer Space Marine 2.
Top-down Zelda game, Echoes of Wisdom in
Yep.
September. Not really game of the year, but
no, but it might be.
It's a family, like the family game or whatever.
Yeah.
It could take that.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of games still coming out that
Yes.
could be game of the year.
Yeah. It's just the first half of the year has been pretty sparse.
Yeah, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But-
I think it's given me time to really focus on other games, which I've enjoyed a lot.
Absolutely, I
So,
agree.
I've been fine with it.
Mhm.
But yeah, so Black Myth Wukong.
Yep.
Looks really cool.
Yep.
Monster Hunter Wilds. We talked about this
Yes.
in like a episode a while ago,
Mhm.
but some of my
Do they have an official release date?
no, not yet.
Okay.
But early 2025 is my guess, like January, February. They are doing no slap on weapons, which is great. You've played World.
Yep.
Most of the weapons when you upgrade it, they just slap on a piece at the hilt or something like that. The weapons are different looking and they're in HD and it's great. They have, there's like a clock themed gun lance they showed off.
Cool.
They showed off a charge blade with like spider themed. I mean, didn't look like it didn't look like the other spider monsters we have, so maybe a new spider monster coming. That's always cool. But they're making the weapons look fun and cool, and it's in a world setting, so they're HD and it looks amazing. That's like the biggest thing. I cannot wait. The new gameplay looks great. The focus moves. They're bringing some moves from the MMO that Americans can play called Monster Hunter Frontier. So they're bringing moves back from that series, which I don't know what's happening to where they're hitting a lot of fan checkboxes all at the same time. And this is Capcom's like most ambitious game, I think, period.
Yeah.
Because the budget they're throwing into this, the scale that they're doing with, they've said that the first area is like 3 to 4 times bigger than the ancient forest, including verticality, which you know how vertical that map is.
Very vertical.
I mean, this game, like, I'm maybe huffing the hopium.
And have they improved like system?
Yes, so
feels more freeform than the old one.
So, like for example, the greatsword is known for once you commit, you can't really turn, you can't really aim. In this game, you can do that. You can charge up a slash and like aim 360. Some players don't like that as much because they're like, oh well, kind of like losing out on the skill expression. Like, oh, I know he's going to be there, but it's more accessible.
And I mean, it's less skill expression. Most people don't like feeling like locked in.
Yes, and it's very weighty, and it's and World was weighty and slow. Rise went the complete opposite direction, where super fast and insane moves. This feels like kind of in the middle, possibly. We'll have to get our hands on it to see.
So if the maps are bigger, they released anything about just in-world travel?
So they did a showcase for a convention a bit ago, and so I've been listening to a lot of that.
Yep. Because it did look like in the announcement trailer they had some motorcycle.
Well, you have your bird that you ride.
The bird.
Yes. So the bird. Yeah, I don't motorcycle.
I don't know why I thought a motorcycle.
But you have your bird, and apparently can automatically take you to the monster if you want. You can set up different base camps that can actually get destroyed by monsters.
Oh,
so that's cool. I'm interested. I hope they do some huge monsters and make it actually fun. Like you fought against Zora Magdaros.
It's
like,
no fun. That is
a very lame raid monster, but most raid monsters are not much better. I would say, because they're super slow. It feels like you're just hitting a wall over and over again, and eventually it dies. So I'm hoping with how much they're making the weather impactful, how big the scale is, some cool like big monster fights would be amazing.
I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I've enjoyed World. It's
my most looked forward to game right now.
I mean, I will say my most looked forward to game is currently Warhammer.
Okay.
Space Marine too.
Another game that is up in the scale for sure.
It is, especially with, I believe it's called the Chaos Engine.
Yes.
They have, which is going to let them put a little over 1,000 entities on the screen, and each of them is an entity you can shoot and kill. So it is going to be a true horde mode.
Yeah, I'll have to see it, or really look into it. But it seems like too crazy.
It's
to be real,
and co-op too.
Yeah, so I don't get it.
I'm so excited.
Like syncing up that many entities between.
I know.
Different people.
I really hope it works well. From all the play tests that people have done, they say it works great.
Yep.
So really hoping that it releases. Not a whole lot of bugs.
Yep. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
I mean, then when you go over the movies haven't been doing as good.
So
Deadpool Wolverine.
Wolverine is
a positive.
Yes, it's on track to be the largest film game.
Yeah. We are watching it this week.
Yep, we're gonna want to watch it this week. I've had several friends who have watched it and reviewed it, and from everything it looks like, the story suffers in the actual MCU part of the story, which is to be expected with how bad Phase has been for Marvel. Hopefully they clean it up after the Avengers film.
Doomsday?
Yeah. I'm not expecting a whole lot from that Avengers film, but I'm hoping the next Phase will be good.
Why they gotta do that to Dr. Doom? But anyway, yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. But Borderlands. The
Borderlands movie has been an absolute flop. You can go look on YouTube. Any creator who has seen it will tell you that they envy you for not having seen it.
Yes.
It's
just another drop in the bad video game adaptation bucket. And I think, I thought we were making progress.
I thought we were too.
I thought we were, but
it's this whole level of, you have film directors and you have writers who openly discuss their disdain for the IP when they write it.
Or not even disdain. It's even like, they're working on a Yakuza film or TV show, and the people making it literally said, we haven't played it. We just want to give our own take.
Yeah.
What's the point of getting an IP
exactly
if you're just going to rework it and you're not even familiar with it to begin with?
Exactly. You're now just trying to sell it. You're trying to bypass the marketing. No, everyone's going to market it for you. They're going to say there's a new Yakuza movie, right? And everyone's going to be like, "Oh, go see it," even though it's not going to have anything to do with it because it sucks. It's like the Witcher thing, and the Witcher thing is like probably the worst out there because
Henry Cavill literally was like,
he's like, I'm a fan, I've read all the books, I've played all the games.
Why is he doing this?
Exactly. Most of the actual actors had played the games, and then you have the writers and the director who openly said, I didn't like the source material and I thought we could do it better in an interview.
I don't get it. Like, why would you? It seems so short-sighted. Like, has it ever worked where someone takes an IP and is like, I can make it better, and then it actually ends up being better while straying far away from the source material?
Not really at all. Like,
it seems very egotistical.
Yeah, you look at like the Uncharted movie. That was just the most bland and mediocre film out there.
It had Tom Holland in it, though.
It had Tom Holland in it. Whatever. It's so frustrating because it's just a bunch of slop being created.
Trying to piggyback off of a popular name.
Exactly.
Yeah. So frustrating.
I know.
All right, but I was thinking more about Borderlands. And it's like, Borderlands at its core is very in its time, and I feel like it doesn't have a long shelf life because it was so in its time.
You have to be meta with it. You can't not.
I feel like the Borderlands style of humor would be the same if a game came out now and then it started saying like Skibbity Toilet, Rizzler.
Yeah, that's completely fair.
It's like, you might get a laughs now.
Yeah, but that being said, right? Why not use the same humor but target it towards a 30-something?
Yeah.
Right? Like that's what you should have done.
Mm-hmm.
You should have, instead of, taking IP that most people who play it now are 25 to 35, right? Save for some people who see a YouTuber play it and want to play it themselves.
Yeah.
Like Borderlands 2, probably one of the best ones out there. And most people who go back and 30s.
Mm-hmm.
And you then make a movie that is very obviously catered towards your young teen who doesn't care.
Who don't even know what Borderlands are.
Yeah.
Or is.
is, yeah. And so it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And I've seen clips from it from people trashing on it. Genuinely, it even looks bad.
I'm surprised they didn't go the Arcane route with Borderlands.
I would have. It would have been so much better. Make a TV show out of it. Make it a raunchy
Animated.
comedy.
Yeah.
For late teens, early 20s. Like, make that your demographic. 30-year-olds still like that stuff.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's where you go with it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, before we get too far, I think we do need to talk about the games of the year from 2005. Because that's where we're at. And so we need to make sure we hit that because there's so much we want to talk about.
Let's go back in time.
Yes.
To 2005, which great year for games, and you'll figure out why here pretty soon.
All right, I'm ready.
BAFTAs chose Shadow of the Colossus.
Okay.
Great game. Came out in 2005.
It's a game.
It is a game. I think it's a great game, personally. I don't know that it's a Game of the Year game. But that's fine.
Well, back then, that was like the style of Game of the Year game.
Yeah, that's fair. But, Dystro's first God of War game.
Okay, yes.
Now, you hear that, and you're like, that's a good game.
Yeah, but this was PS2, like, golden right now. So there's a lot of options.
So, let me just tell you one of those games that you'll know.
Yes.
And everyone online will know.
Okay.
It's the original Battlefront 2.
Okay. The original Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Yes.
Yep. Amazing.
An amazing game.
Okay.
A phenomenal game.
Yes.
Okay.
Love that game a lot.
Devil May Cry 3.
Yep. Devil May Cry 3.
Yep. Call of Duty 2.
Okay.
Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Chaos Theory.
Mm-hmm.
The Battlefield 2.
Yep.
The original Lego Star Wars.
I remember that game.
Mario Kart DS. Civ 4. Silent Hunter 3. Grand Theft Auto Liberty City. Not a good one.
Not the best.
Not a good one, but that's fine. Need for Speed Most Wanted, which they made a remake recently. A couple years ago. I think 2017. I don't think that's recent, but
unfortunately for us.
The first Guild Wars game.
Yes.
I know Guild Wars 2 is significantly popular, but obviously first Guild Wars. Batman Begins. Ratchet Deadlocked. Ultimate Spider-Man. Guitar Hero. I don't really think a lot of
the first
these
Guitar
are,
Hero.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
These are a lot of great games that spun off a lot of IP, and I don't necessarily think a lot of these are Game of the Year at the moment.
And I know 2005 specifically for at least I know for Nintendo was not a good year either.
Sonic Rush, Animal Crossing Wild World.
Like they were focusing on the DS a ton, which was selling like hotcakes.
Yeah, so. I mean, there's a lot of DS games, but a lot of them are just like you have. I think I said Mario Kart DS.
Yeah, I mean that's a great Mario Kart game.
You have Fire Emblem, Path of Radiance, which
that's for the
no, that's for the
for GameCube. With Ike.
Yep. So
I can't blame them for choosing
Prime game.
I think Shadow of the Colossus is probably the right choice.
That's an interesting take. I mean, Shadow of the Colossus is such a good game, and I think it's better than God of War. But 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
It's just there's Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Which, I mean, we both love Star Wars Battlefront 2.
I know. I guess this comes down again to what makes a game, right? That's a game that is very fun. And it probably was
Battlefront 2 we're talking about.
Yes, Battlefront 2.
Right.
Yes.
Just making sure.
Star Wars Battlefront.
Mm-hmm.
Great game.
Yes.
And I probably would still play it. Star Wars 1.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Honestly, I could go either way. I do think Shadow of the Colossus is a bit overrated. I'm not gonna lie.
Is it better than God of War?
The first one?
The first one. Where Kratos kind of looks like a twig.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
With red face paint.
Mm-hmm. It's. Oh wait, why are you talking to me like I don't know what the original Kratos design looks like? Sorry, I know what it sounds like. I know what it looks like.
Yep.
I would say it is.
Okay. Let me paint a picture.
It's better than God of War 1.
Yes.
Okay. I have more fun with Battlefront 2.
Yes.
For Game of the Year, it probably goes to Shadow of the Colossus, though.
I will say, Shadow of the Colossus is a gorgeous game, especially for the time. I really feel like it holds up.
I think you should look at the original graphics again.
Did they remaster? Is that what I'm thinking?
Yes. The remaster looks amazing. The original, well, for the time, it looked good. And the sense of scale was great.
Mm-hmm.
But,
I guess I could be thinking of the remaster. I'm definitely thinking of the remaster on like PS4.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Picture of the 2005 one.
I'll give it up for Battlefront 2. How about? Because I like that one better anyway.
Yeah, that's fair. I do want to point out Battlefront game almost beat out the EA Sports games that year in sales.
Good.
I know. Number 2 behind FIFA, like always.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to beat FIFA.
It is hard to beat.
Yeah.
Or Madden.
So there it is. Battlefront 2.
I do think Battlefront 2 should have been
Game of the Year of 2005.
Yeah, absolutely should have.
Because that was on PlayStation 2, it was on PC, it was on Xbox.
Especially over God of War.
Yeah.
I can understand the toss-up with Shadow of the Colossus.
Well, because it was like a statement game. It was an artsy game.
And I think it was fun.
Yeah, no, it's fun.
I guess, in my mind, I'm stuck with the remastered, which I know fixed a lot of the controls, fixed a lot of the graphics.
I think it's a bit clunkier. It's when you think about Shadow of the Colossus, it's nice to think about.
Yeah.
The image of what it is in your head when you think about it in the future is way different than how it feels.
That is true.
When you're playing it.
That's probably very true.
Because you're thinking about, oh, man, the monsters are so big and it looks like this and it looks like that. And then you're playing the game and you're like, what is going on?
I still remember fighting the giant monsters more favorably than fighting Zoro Magdaros.
Yes.
100%.
They should take a page.
They should take a page from Shadow of the Colossus. 100%.
Yep.
Also, if there's ever an Attack on Titan game good, I would sort of base it. Because that is really how you fight larger than yourself.
That's not how they do it in the show, though. So all right, anyway. Why would you want an Attack on Titan game where you're playing like Shadow of the Colossus? Doesn't make sense.
No, just take a page on size and scale.
Okay.
Was what I'm saying. Sorry,
yes.
Not necessarily the climb up their back.
Yes. Okay.
Anyway, yes. BAFTAs, that was an okay choice. DICE, I don't know why you pick it, but we'll talk about it again for the other God of War games. They're also highly.
Yep. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what we were wrong about, what we were right about. Except,
we were right about
everything. So you don't need to comment about that. Thanks for watching till the end.
He's been Cade.
And he's been Micah. Have a good one.
Bye.